The government to check if there are more illegal building works at Red Hill Peninsula. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrives in Russia for talks with Vladimir Putin. In Libya, floods triggered by a storm leaves as many as 2,000 people dead. Hello and welcome to TVB News. At least 2 houses at a high-end residential estate in Tai Tam were found with illegal building works. The government has yet to confirm whether there are any illegal structures in another house affected by a landslide. Chief Executive John Lee said today authorities will carry out inspections at the entire Red Hill Peninsula estate and act in accordance with the law. Sharon Tang reports.
This morning, staff members of the Buildings Department entered house number 74 at Red Hill Peninsula to carry out an inspection. They took pictures at the backyard. Seeing from above, there is a beach chair and a sofa and a glass house on the right-hand side. Underneath, a 2-story structure covered with greenery. This comes just a day after the reluctant owner of the house made a U-turn to let government officers in with a court warrant. Meanwhile, workers began setting up scaffolding at the bottom of the swimming pool in house number 70. Earlier, experts said most sea-facing houses at the Red Hill Peninsula estate have extensions beyond the retaining wall, adding that unauthorized building works might have been carried out. The CE said authorities will keep looking for possible violations.
This will be dealt with in accordance with the law, issuing removal order for the structures to be demolished. If special works are to be carried out by the government to ensure safety, we will recover costs from them.
On Sunday, Secretary for Development Bernadette Lin said the Lands Department has arranged contractors to stabilize the slope and will try to complete the relevant work in a few days. So far, remedial work has yet to begin. Experts explained why the procedures take time.
Above the slope, there's a row of buildings that is the private lot. It is not easy and normally not allowed for the government to use the private lot as a asset to carry the construction. So they have to find a way to how to get to that landslide location to carry the stabilization work. Maybe they can consider whether they can mobilize the material by sea, but it's still had difficulty because there's no pier, no jetties.
Meanwhile, the government noted the floods that affected the city were the result of historic rainfall that exceeded the capacity of the drainage system. The Hong Kong Institution of Engineers said improvements on the drainage system are very complex because there are cables and water pipes underground, and any movement will likely affect road traffic around town. Sharon Tang, TVB News.
Starting today, farmers and residents who suffered serious losses due to last week's rainstorms can seek help from an emergency relief fund. This comes after fields, pig farms, and fish ponds were seriously flooded during the adverse conditions. The Home Affairs Department has set up designated desks at enquiry offices around the city to accept applications from residents. Chief Executive John Lee said civil servants will be deployed to help out. Depending on the level of damage to their homes, 2-person households can receive a maximum of $7,120 in financial aid. Households of 6 or more people can receive up to $11,440, and pig farmers $17,590. Still, lawmakers have expressed doubts about whether the aid money will be sufficient to help the sector recover. The hackers who breached the Cyberport's computer system in August said all the stolen information had been published on the deep web, about 400 gigabytes of data in all. Mimo Singhai reports.
The city's technology park Cyberport announced that some hackers had intruded into its computer system in August. Cyberport said it had reported the intrusion to police immediately after the incident. The hackers then demanded the technology park pay a ransom of $300,000, which is around $2.35 million, to regain access to 400 GB of its data. However, the park refused to pay by the deadline set by the hackers, prompting them to publish the entire 400 gigabytes worth of data onto the deep web, the part of the internet that is not fully accessible using standard search engines such as Google. The leaked information included employees' personal photos, Cyberport's tenancy records, and financial documents. In addition, it also included the data from about 220 financial technology companies. Cybersecurity expert Anthony Lai said the leaked information is fairly sensitive because it may involve trade secrets belonging to Cyberport and the government. The trade secrets may have an impact on the future business opportunities of Cyberport and even the development of the city, he added. Meanwhile, lawmaker Johnny Ng said the incident shows the government must review its internet security system as soon as possible. Mei-Musanai, TVB News.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un arrived in Russia today for a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin after a day-long journey aboard his armored train. Kim is expected to seek Russian economic aid and military technology, while the United States believes talks will also involve North Korean arms sales in aid of Moscow's war with Ukraine. Nazvi Karim has more.
This train is similar to the one carrying North Korean leader Kim Jong-un to his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Russia's Far East. It was spotted on Sunday near a bridge at the North Korea-Russia border. Much is being made of the fact that Kim is traveling by train, his own luxury armored carriage that is symbolic of North Korea's isolation and Kim's security fears. It's the same kind of train he used in his 2019 visit to Vladivostok, his last overseas trip, and follows this trend set by his father Kim Jong-il and grandfather Kim Il-sung.
Kim Jong-un likes to travel by train, not within his own nation per se, but when he travels abroad, he has taken the train on 3 of his 4 visits to China. This luxurious train, bulletproof, is stocked with very lavish trappings, fancy dining room. When Kim Jong-il traveled by train to Moscow in 2001, he had lobsters flown in during his visit, traveling across Russia.
Lobsters may well be on the menu when, according to reports, Putin hosts Kim for a special lunch during his trip. The main focus of the world, though, will be on what they discuss. Speaking at an Eastern Economic Forum gathering in the Pacific Coast city of Vladivostok today, Putin said he would go to Vostochny Cosmodrome in the Far East, adding, "I have my own agenda there. When I get there, you will know." The United States is convinced talks between Putin and Kim will center around North Korean arms sales to Russia, with Putin eyeing Pyongyang's tens of millions of artillery shells as his own stockpile dwindles amid the war with Ukraine. Such notions are strengthened by the fact that Jo Chun-yong, North Korea's director of munitions industry department, is joining Kim on his trip. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov insists Putin and Kim will only discuss bilateral relations and possibly humanitarian aid to North Korea, where food security is a problem in parts of the country. The U.S. State Department hopes Pyongyang will abide by previous public vows that it would never supply arms to Russia.
We're going to monitor very closely the outcome of this meeting. I will remind both countries that any transfer of arms from North Korea to Russia would be in violation of multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions. And we, of course, have aggressively enforced our sanctions against entities that fund Russia's war effort.
Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Mediterranean storm Daniel has caused devastating floods in eastern Libya, breaking dams and sweeping away entire neighborhoods across coastal towns. As many as 2,000 people are feared dead, with over 5,000 more believed to be missing. Daniel Rowell has details.
The destruction from the storm appeared greatest in Derna, a city formerly held by Islamic extremists, and the chaos that has gripped Libya for more than a decade. Since a 2011 uprising that toppled and later killed longtime ruler Muammar Gaddafi, Libya has lacked a central government. The nation is now split between rival governments in the east and west, each backed by an array of militias. Video by residents of the eastern city of Derna posted online showed major devastation. Entire residential areas were razed along a river that runs down from the mountains through the city centre. Local media outlets described the situation as catastrophic, with electricity having been wiped out and communications equipment damaged. Prime Minister Osama Hamad of the East Libyan government said Derna has been declared a disaster zone. Ahmed al-Masmari, a spokesman for the country's armed forces based in the east, attributed the catastrophe to the collapse of two nearby dams, causing a lethal flash flood.
The death toll from the magnitude 6.8 earthquake that hit Morocco last week has risen to almost 2,900. Villagers in parts of the country, including Marrakesh, camped outside on Monday for a fourth night in a row as local and international rescuers continued to search for survivors. Video filmed from early today shows people in Marrakesh sleeping in a square as traffic and tourists pass by. With much of the quake zone in hard-to-reach areas, authorities have not issued any estimates for the number of missing. Morocco has accepted offers of aid from Spain and Britain, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. Search and rescue specialists with sniffer dogs from Spain and the UK are working in the quake disaster zone. Hopes of finding more survivors are fading. One reason being, according to an earthquake engineer, the old-style architecture of the village houses that have collapsed.
The problem with rubble and mud brick materials for the older houses, the whole material is so brittle. You basically got a pile of rocks and mud dust, and that just congeals together. Even though it's dry, it really won't leave many pockets that you could survive in, any air pockets that you could breathe through. So you're sort of almost being buried underground, if you like, by all this material falling around you. It will sort of pack itself around you. So it's certainly not a very conducive situation for survival.
The United States has cleared the way for the release of 5 American citizens detained in Iran. The deal involves the U.S. issuing a blanket waiver for international banks to transfer $6 billion in frozen Iranian money from South Korea to Qatar without sanctions. The broad outlines of the U.S.-Iran deal allow for the release of 5 U.S. citizens detained by Iran in exchange for the transfer. In return, 5 Iranians held in the United States will be freed. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken signed off on the deal last month.
I will say it is a process that is ongoing. We continue to work towards the full release of the American citizens that were detained in Iran that have now moved on to house arrest. I don't have any update on timing for ultimate resolution.
Still ahead, a 6-month jail term for a mainland student in Hong Kong in a sedition case related to the Pillar of Shame sculpture. The public warned against taking boat trips for whale watching after new sightings in Hong Kong waters. And the local urban sports community wants to play a role in promoting the city's nighttime economy. Welcome back to TVB News. A mainland woman attending university in Hong Kong was charged with sedition over a plan to hang a banner in Causeway Bay showing the Pillar of Shame sculpture. She admitted to the offense and was sentenced to 6 months in jail. The 23-year-old law student Zhang Yuchuan planned to display a 9 by 3 meter banner printed with an image of the Pillar of Shame and other slogans on the circular footbridge in Causeway Bay. She intended to carry out her plan on the 4th of June. She was sentenced at the West Kowloon Magistracy after pleading guilty to the charge. National Security Police today took away the father-in-law of wanted activist Ted Hui for questioning. Hoy's father-in-law left the Castle Peak police station in the afternoon. He declined to comment as he ran past reporters. Sources say police are investigating whether the father-in-law has been in contact with Hoy and if he has provided any financial support to the activist. Hoy is in Australia and is one of 8 fugitives wanted by the city's National Security Police, each with a $1 million bounty on their heads. The activist is alleged to have incited subversion and secession and colluded with foreign forces. The Agriculture, Fisheries and Conservation Department urged the public against taking boat trips for whale watching after another whale was briefly spotted in the city's waters on Monday. This morning, some residents were doing water activities at Deepwater Bay, where the whale was seen 500 meters offshore on Monday. The Marine Police Force were on patrol in the area. Air drones were deployed to examine the surroundings. The Dolphin Conservation Society said the creature could be a dwarf sperm whale. The society said it may react when under stress, including by releasing ink. The AFCD warned people to stay away from the animal. It said those who partake in irresponsible whale watching could be subject to a 1-year jail term and a fine of $100,000. A viral video online is suspected to show a South Korean female streamer being sexually assaulted at Central Station. Authorities have arrested a 46-year-old man of Indian descent. The clip showed the woman who arrived in Hong Kong 6 days ago being harassed by a man of South Asian descent. The latter then followed the woman inside the MTR Central Station before he was suspected of pushing her against the wall and kissing her without consent. He later fled the scene. The police received over 10 online reports related to the incident on Monday. This morning, authorities arrested in Kennedy Town an ethnic Indian on suspicion of indecent assault and outraging public decency. The suspect carried a Hong Kong identity card and is reportedly a waiter. Amid the government's plan to boost Hong Kong's nighttime economy, studies found nearly 70% of local residents support the city organizing night markets to increase the spending appetite among locals and tourists. Meanwhile, members of the urban sports community in Hong Kong say they wish to use their skills to promote nighttime activities. Timothy Lee tells us more.
An exciting nightlife scene of bustling markets and partygoers. That's something the administration is desperate to achieve post-pandemic. But the revival of Hong Kong's nighttime economy remains an ongoing challenge. A recent survey conducted by the Hong Kong Department Stores and Commercial Staff General Union found that among more than 1,800 people surveyed, around 70% of them supported establishing night markets. Over 70% selected restaurants as their preferred theme for the nighttime events, while a similar percentage said ease of transport to the markets is a priority. Many people suggested transforming night markets into tourist destinations and revitalizing traditional areas such as Temple Street and Upper Lascar Road. Prior to attending the Executive Council meeting today, Chief Executive John Lee said he will take the community's suggestions into account, stressing that the common people have good methods to solve the problem. Meanwhile, members of the SAR's urban sports community said they would like to play a role in helping the government realize their nighttime economy goal, adding that authorities could also do more to support their activities.
The government should do more like skateboarding things, break dance at the night. The street culture sport is going to the Olympic now, so something like it is big to the world.
We are break dancer. We're dancing in the street, like the skater, like dancing at they skate in the street. We also want more people chilling at the night time, you know. So I think government need to put more heart inside to do it.
No matter skateboard or breaking, it's a really a light sports event. We hope that if we would like to do more on night economy, we hope that the LCSD should release more the restriction to let them to have more chance to perform.
To further support the urban sports community in Hong Kong, the DAB suggested hosting athletic events tailored to residents, allowing them to experience the urban sports and hosting similar events with other cities in the Greater Bay Area.
Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The World of Frozen at Hong Kong Disneyland will open its doors to the public on November 20th. It will be the first themed section based on the popular franchise at any Disney park worldwide. Inspired by the designs of Norwegian towns, the land will recreate buildings seen in the movie. Among them will be the iconic Arendelle Castle, where the main character Elsa sang "Let It Go." There are also rides and restaurants in the themed land. Hong Kong Disneyland said the World of Frozen is one of the key parts to its expansion. It is hoping the latest attraction will help draw travelers from around the world. In line with the government's nighttime economy initiative, the theme park will be open 6 days a week this month and for extended hours on certain nights. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.